Well, good morning and welcome aboard. This is a live webcast of a very special nautical event. This is the relaunching of the famous and historic schooner Bluenose II. It is Nova Scotia's sailing ambassador and the pride of the province and a true Canadian icon. This historic wooden vessel has been refit and refurbished, and it's completely renewed for a new life, ready once again to hit the ocean waters. And that is what will be happening here this morning, here in Lunenburg. A large crowd is expected to gather here in this historic town, gathering to celebrate dockside, and we're looking for a very interesting and historic day today. This is Lunenburg, a heritage town in Nova Scotia on the east coast of Canada. I'm Bruce Nunn, and I've been researching and telling Nova Scotia history and heritage stories for a number of years now for radio and TV, and even published a few books, which include some children's books that include a certain little character who was known for his blue nose. So I'm kind of involved in this story. I have been sort of playfully known to some folks as Mr. Nova Scotia Know-It-All, and it doesn't really take a know-it-all to enjoy the excitement of a historic day like this, but I'm glad to be here, and it's the kind of day I wouldn't want to miss, and you wouldn't want to either. Now, the name Bluenose is certainly a word, it's a term that I've written about quite a bit, and it shows up a lot in Nova Scotia's very storied past. It's a name that stirs a certain pride of place in this old province, a feeling of tradition, the legacy of the maritime way of life, and really Bluenose represents our link to the past, our link to our nautical heritage. So we're very glad to have you here watching as this historic day is about to unfold. We are here on the dockyard in an old shed with the beautiful schooner right behind us on the slips, ready for that momentous moment when it's going to move down the slip and hit the water. Now, that's why people are gathering here in Lunenburg today. The weather was threatening to be a little rainy, but it seems to be quite calm and quite peaceful out there. No sign of rain as yet. It's a beautiful morning in Lunenburg. Bluenose II is about to be reborn, and the schooner has been pretty much high and dry for some time while the work was done. Lots of hard work was done by the shipyard workers, the shipbuilders here in Lunenburg. Many of them who have carried on the craft that their fathers and their grandfathers before them were using to make a living back in the older days. Bluenose II is now finally ready to be returned to its rightful place, to carry on representing Nova Scotia to the world. So just outside over my shoulder, you ought to be able to see the refurbished schooner Bluenose II. And later in the morning, within the hour, we are going to be hearing from a group of provincial and municipal government dignitaries. Shipbuilders themselves are all gathered here. A large crowd is starting to form outside. We have media from the local South Shore here, from across Nova Scotia, and in fact, Canadian media from the national scene. So it's an important and historic day. The Bridgewater Fire Department is now warming up and playing to the crowd outside. Bridgewater Fire Department band. Lunenburg's deputy mayor, the town crier, will be here as part of the festivities. And so we're looking at a day of music and celebration, and all culminating in an evening with a big concert on the waterfront and fireworks over the harbor. So this is a turning point, a milestone in Nova Scotia history. Bluenose II will once again carry on the tradition that has been part of Nova Scotia's story since original Bluenose was launched back in 1921. Bluenose was a fine Grand Bank schooner, competitive racing vessel, built to take on the Americans for the International Fisherman's Trophy Cup in the schooner races of old. Bluenose, as you may have heard, was undefeated for close to 20 years. So she was the queen of the North Atlantic. Now, the original vessel, Bluenose, hit a sad demise on a reef off of Haiti. So Her spirit rose again when Bluenose II was built and launched back in 1963. So here we are, 49 years later, and this morning, Bluenose II will be relaunched to get ready for a new year of touring and training young sailors and promoting the beautiful province of Nova Scotia. By the spring of 2013, next spring, Bluenose II will be marking the 50th anniversary of being Nova Scotia's sailing ambassador. So it's a big year. So we invite you to stay tuned and watch this new chapter of Bluenose II unfold. And over the next hour, as I mentioned, the wooden schooner will be moved slowly down the slipway that you see behind me. It will take several minutes, a little while to get down. It's going to move very slowly, I'm told. It will be moved into the harbor on a cradle, and at some point, after speeches and ceremonies are conducted, the cradle will be taken away, and Bluenose II will be waterborne and officially afloat once again as the relaunch ceremony takes place here on the dockside in downtown Lunenburg. A number of special guests and political leaders and dignitaries will be here, and the crowd is starting to gather outside, and it's looking to be a pretty good day as far as the weather too. The weather's looking good. Some smaller boats are starting to show up around, and the excitement is starting to build a little bit. It's a Nova Scotian occasion that we all would not want to miss, so we're glad to have you here. Our camera is going to follow the relaunch process and let you hear and see the ceremony as it unfolds. So for now, we'll take you outside to see Bluenose II, the ship as it is prepared for the relaunch. This is a live webcast from the dockyard at Lunenburg, Nova Scotia, where the historic vessel Bluenose II is about to be relaunched. And we're in an old shed right outside the bow of this beautiful vessel. And my name is Bruce Nunn. I'm sitting here with Eamon Dorley, a shipbuilder himself with the Maritime Museum of the Atlantic in Halifax. Eamon has been building boats and ships, and he's for some 20-some years, and he's quite familiar with this relaunching or the launching of vessels. Eamon, welcome to Lunenburg.
Thank you very much. I'm very, very happy to be here.
So you've done this before. You know there must be a lot of very anxious shipbuilders out there.
Yes.
Maybe you can talk to us a little bit about the anxiety, the excitement, the nervousness, whatever might be going through their mind right now.
Well, boat building itself is a very labor-intensive, heavy, demanding job, and usually the environment of boat building is quite brutal. It's usually either right on the shore or in unheated boat building shops. It's heavy physical labor. You're carrying around very, very large pieces of wood, especially in a project the size of the Bluenose. All the scantling sizes are huge. So it's brutal work that seems to go on for quite an extended period of time. And at some point, you need a little boost, and just knowing that at some point down the road, there is going to be a big celebration.
Yeah.
It gets you through kind of some of the negative work.
Get you through that cold winter?
Get you through the cold winter.
Okay.
And right now, I'm sure the fellers are very, very proud of what they've accomplished. But they're also looking back with probably a little bit of nervousness about what they've actually done on the boat. And so if they were the people that planked up the hull, or if they were the people that corked the hull or put the through hulls in, I know that the job that they've done has been stellar. I know that it's as professional as you can possibly be. But I'm sure in the back of their mind they're saying, you know, did I get that seam just right, or did I properly cork the hull? And I'm sure they did. I know they did. I've worked with these fellers. I know they've done a professional job. But with any profession, there is a degree of anxiety when it comes to performance.
And this isn't just a private sailing vessel. This is being broadcast well around the world on the internet. So I'm sure these guys are very, very aware of what they're doing this morning.
And also, boat building is somewhat of a singular, kind of lonely profession.
Yeah.
And you're not used to the limelight, and so you're just working away in a very intensive atmosphere for months and months and months at a time.
The world is watching.
You've invited 10,000 people to your threshold, and they walk across it, and they're there looking at you. And you're just not used to that. So there's also that type of performance anxiety as well.
I know it's boat building is a very old tradition in Nova Scotia. There's a lot of old nautical superstitions and traditions associated with sailing and with fishing, but probably with the boat building and the boat launching. Can you talk a bit about some of the superstitions that go back through the years?
Well, if you want to go way back, there's horrific types of ceremonies that used to take place in Roman and Greek times, and I think we've all heard about virgins being sacrificed on the ways as the vessel goes down. Absolutely horrific things. Thank God nowadays it's a little bit, it's quite a bit more cleaned up.
Maritime sailors, there's some traditions here too.
Great traditions. When the boat is ready to go in the water, usually there's a bit of greenery on the bow, and the greenery would signify an enticement for the vessel to come back to shore at some point. Never flowers. Well, they're a little bit on the edge about flowers, because sometimes flowers were considered part of a funeral, and sometimes it's a bit celebratory. So that can go either one way or the other. The smashing of a champagne bottle on the prow of the vessel. Now, sometimes when they went to smash the champagne bottle, it didn't break, and that was always considered a bad omen.
Bad luck.
That was bad luck.
Well, that was for a launch. We're looking at a relaunch today, so there'll be no champagne bottle today.
That's right. She's already been christened. She was christened in 1963, right. and as it turns out, she was launched in 1963, July 23rd, 1963, which was a very significant day because
24, I think.
It was actually my wife's birthday was on the 23rd.
Okay, there you
and
go.
So, and that is the feast of Neptune.
Okay.
And so you couldn't ask for a better day to launch a vessel.
Wow.
And also they say that when a boat does go back in the water, how it breaks into the water. So what we're looking for today is probably when the Bluenose does go in, we're looking for her to go to starboard. And if she goes to starboard, that means clockwise with the sun.
Okay.
That means it'll also be pointing out to sea, and that's a very, very good omen. That means that she's ready to go back in the water.
Very good, very good. Yeah. Starboard, of course, means turn to the right.
Turn to the right.
Although this will not be like a splashdown relaunch the way it would have been in the old days. It's going to be a little bit more gradual, from what I understand.
That's right, yeah.
Okay.
But it will turn one way or the other, and I'm sure they'll
great.
they'll make her turn.
All right, so what does a refit like this entail? How big a project is it to refit a ship like this?
Well, it's a massive undertaking, and there's so many things to consider. Sourcing materials nowadays, sourcing trees and the wood to actually undergo a refit like this, that in itself is a full-time job. And of course, all the systems that go into it to make it compliant with ABS and Coast Guard and Transport Canada is also a very significant undertaking.
Now, I understand you're working on a very special Bluenose related project yourself. Maybe we've got a minute to just describe that.
So William Rowe is known for the Bluenose II, but he's also known for
he was the designer of Bluenose.
Designer of Bluenose, but he's also known for a number of other vessels that he's designed. So the Bluenose class sloop, the Rowe 20s, and also there's this small class called the Bluenose Junior, which is a scaled reduction of the Bluenose. So it's about 40 feet long, and
you're building this.
I'm rebuilding one right now, and I'm a little bit nervous today because I know that in 2 years' time I'll be having this exact same experience, and I'll be putting in a 40-foot schooner, and so I will be the person having the anxiety attack.
Well, it's great to have you here this morning.
Very nice talking to you.
Thank you for coming by.
Good luck.
We are here at the relaunch of Bluenose II, Nova Scotia's sailing ambassador here in Lunenburg. We are here in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia. This is the ceremony to mark the relaunch of the famous and historic vessel Bluenose II, right here on the dockyards in Lunenburg. And my name is Bruce Nunn. I'm sitting here now with the Minister of Communities, Culture and Heritage for the province of Nova Scotia, Minister Leonard Prera. Welcome to Lunenburg, sir.
Good morning, Bruce.
Okay.
It's great to be here.
You're the minister responsible for this large project. So what does it mean to the people of Nova Scotia? What does it mean to the world and to Canada, this icon, this image of Bluenose?
Well, the Bluenose symbolizes, our mastery of the wind and the waves, our ability to thrive in very difficult conditions along the water. And so it says that we have this continuing legacy, this great tradition of building beautiful and fast and functional vessels, whether it's the Bluenose or a dory or the new frigates. So ships started here and they continue to be built here. And, right along the way, we have divers, we have swimmers, we have people doing oceans research, we have people looking at climate change. We understand the oceans and we have thrived by the oceans, and our future lies along the oceans, and we know it.
That's right. I mean, we're all familiar with the campaign Ships Start Here, and literally ships did start right here in Lunenburg, Nova Scotia. So you've been around the province talking to a lot of people, Minister. You've probably been hearing about the excitement and the build-up about Bluenose II once again hitting the waters as a renewed ship. What have you been hearing from people around the province?
Well, people are really proud of the craftsmanship. That we've got this beautiful boat that is beautiful and functional at the same time. And I've been on the boat itself and talked to some of the craftspeople. Mr. O'Toole who built the table, people who cut the lumber and sawed it. People who sailed on it.
Table that he made for the vessel with pieces
for the
of
premiers,
wood.
People wood from all over the country.
Yeah.
And it's like the Bluenose. It's a functional table, but it's also it's a work of art. It's beautiful.
Yeah. So it's a symbol, the same way that the ship is.
Yeah.
You've been on the schooner. You've walked the deck of Bluenose II yourself. how does it feel when you're on board? You've got all that history surrounding you. You can touch and feel it. For you personally, what's that been like?
Well, you know, to me, it's like being like Forrest Gump. You know, you're out there, you have this beautiful craft. You always are on the outside looking at it, and you admire it, and you're at the fence, and then you find yourself on the boat, and you're thinking, wow, you know, I'm on you know, this beautiful boat that has this great tradition and great legacy.
It's a symbol that comes into reality when you're actually standing on it.
Yeah, and you know, you feel connected to all the people who built it and the town of Lunenburg itself.
Well, it's shaping up to be a pretty good day. A little bit gray and overcast, but I guess that's good for the photographers. So it's going to be a great day.
It is going to be a great day, and you can hear the band warming up outside, and the winds have died, and it's going to be a great day for sailing.
Thank you for coming by.
Yes. Thank you very much for talking to me.
Very good.
Super.
Cheers. Well, we are in Lunenburg, and this is a live webcast on the Government of Nova Scotia website for all the world to see the relaunch of beautiful and historic Bluenose II vessel, the schooner you can see behind me on the slips, ready to be returned to the ocean waves once again. A large ceremony and lots of celebration expected here in Lunenburg today. And as we wait for the dignitaries' speeches to begin, I'm going to have a brief chat with a real Lunenburger here. This is Keith Dodge. He was born and bred here in Lunenburg with shipbuilding in his blood, you might say. He grew up in and around this town, and he's with his little fella, Henry Dodge. Henry, how are you?
Good.
Give me a high five. All right. Now, Henry, you know a little bit about Bluenose and how fast it is and stuff like that. Can you tell me, what do you know about this beautiful Bluenose ship?
It's the fastest one in the world.
Fastest in the whole world? Wow. Did it win all the races?
It sure did, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Keith, Henry recently had a bit of an issue with a tooth. Can you tell me that story?
Yeah, Henry, what happened now to your tooth?
Did you lose a tooth?
Yeah.
And what happened?
I forget what happened, but I was just munching on it.
You were munching and lost a tooth, but the tooth fairy came and brought you something special. Tell us that story.
What did the tooth fairy bring you, Henry?
A dime with a blue nose.
A dime with the Bluenose.
Anything else, though? You can mention what else. What else? Anything else?
$2.
And $2. And why did they bring you that dime, do you think, Henry?
Remind me of the blue nose.
Reminded you of the Bluenose. And is the Bluenose a very special and important ship to you? Yeah. You know, your dad is from this town, right? Where Bluenose was made. Very quickly, Keith, what was it like growing up here with Bluenose in your backyard and all of this tradition around you?
Well, you know, growing up in Lunenburg, you walk by the waterfront every day, and it just becomes a part of your growing up and your being in this town. It's as similar as any other building. We recognize it wherever we go.
You must be able to feel that pressure, that pride, and that attention that you get from around the province and around the world. Lunenburg is a special place.
It is, yeah. And I was with some friends last night, and the town is excited. The townspeople are really fired up for today, so they're really looking forward to the festivities.
Well, this doesn't happen every day. I mean, it happened once 49 years ago, and here we are again for the relaunch. So thanks very much for coming by to talk to us. Thanks, Henry. Good luck with that Bluenose dime of yours. You go buy some candy, lose another tooth. Okay, thank you. We are here in Lunenburg on the waterfront, awaiting the relaunch of Bluenose II. Yeah. Okay, here we are in Lunenburg, and the noises are beginning behind me as the beautiful schooner Bluenose II is being prepared to be relaunched down the slip. You can see it there. It's in its large cradle holding it in place, but lots of shipbuilder workers here in Lunenburg are on the deck and surrounding and underneath the hull of this refurbished ship, getting ready to slowly inch it down the slipway, down to the edge of the water, where it will eventually be slowly lowered into the water for the official relaunch as dignitaries and media and onlookers gather outside waiting for it. And there you can see it. There you can see the bow slowly moving forward. It's not the dramatic splash of the old days. They have to take more caution today, so it's going to move a little more gradually, but I suppose that increases the drama as people watch. It's a beautiful thing to watch. I don't know how often people in the world get to see a large wooden vessel of this enormous size, handmade by craftsmen who have this ability, this craftsmanship in their family for generations. To see this kind of a vessel be reborn in the water the way this is happening and unfolding in front of us. It's really kind of a stirring experience. We are in Lunenburg. So far, the weather has held. No raindrops as far as I can tell. A few umbrellas out there. Photographers, everybody eagerly watching as the ship is starting to make its way down. Quite amazing. It brings a certain sense of pride just to see the prow, the way it just sticks up in the air that way. And I know that it's an icon and a symbol that means a lot to the people of this province, and of course means a lot to the people of Canada. As little Henry had just told us, it's on the Canadian dime. It's a ship that is actually featured on 3 Canadian stamps, and it's on the Nova Scotia license plate for everyone to see on the highways and byways. It's a symbol, it's an icon. Bluenose II is once again about to be returned to the water as a crowd gathers here on the edge of the water in Lunenburg to watch and experience the day.